But our next speaker, I want to welcome Jason Enos from Empire Group. Jason is the CEO and founder of Empire, a full-service product development company, a group that Loft has worked with many times, and Jason is a friend. What we would like to discuss is this idea of respond versus react and finding the right balance between safety and speed. So without further ado, Jason, please jump in.
Thank you. Nice to meet everybody. Yeah, we're a product development company right here in Attleboro, Massachusetts. We're a 360-degree product development company. And the meaning behind that is we encompass all services, meaning we do everything from CNC machining, additive manufacturing, design engineering, the whole gamut of all of it. As you can imagine, this has been a complete emotional roller coaster for us and our company from the inception of this. When we first heard about all this, we immediately went to our 3D printers and trying to figure out what we can do to really help immediately. And it was extremely frustrating for many different reasons. I think one of the big ones was a simple thing like, trying to redesign a face shield that has been around for years, which it seems crazy to me that we're spending any sort of time to redesign a face shield that has one certain specific purpose. And what was crazy about it is it was really tough for me in my position to criticize anyone because everyone's heart is in the right place. Everyone just wants to help, right? The makerspace has just been, it's incredible. I mean, truly, I'm so proud of it and so proud to be a part of it. But what's frustrating is how quickly we could react if there was some sort of stock database for everyone to just jump on and start printing stuff that we know from the get-go is approved and in the right material and things like that. So I think the future in moving forward to kind of looking at, geez, it seems like last week, the week before, and everything's changing by the day of how we can react. It's easy to be that Monday morning quarterback, but there's a lot of things I think that are out there that we're going to be able to improve upon, no doubt.
Yeah, Jason, thanks for that. I think we had a great discussion the other day, and one of the things that you mentioned, which I thought was really compelling, was this idea, and it's something I believe Melissa brought up about redundancy. And in a time like this, knowing that we have this community who's eager to help, this idea of proven designs, if you will, that can be readily available should and when another situation like this pops up, rather than spending the time reinventing, because there is a safety aspect, there is an efficacy aspect to these products that we cannot shortcut. So could you speak to that?
Sure. So, I mean, speed is everything. And I kind of, like kind of in an order of magnitude of the type of business that we do. I mean, it probably starts in military, then it goes to medical, and then it goes to consumer. And then, I mean, even in the military world, on the battlefield, they're able to quickly, if a device or something breaks, they're actually able to access a digital file of that certain part. But that part isn't in a standard manufacturing process. So what I mean by that is we need to really think about how we can truly leverage additive manufacturing. With traditional manufacturing, there's a lot of limitations. So this is a whole new world, right? We can really, be super creative and not be constrained to traditional manufacturing techniques. And the military does that. I mean, they have digital files for people on the battlefield that can leverage, 3D printers that they have on ships, they have on, vehicles that they can print, they can physically print a replacement part. I feel that, any product that is going to be either life-saving or, protectionary type device should have some sort of digital backup. I mean, that way we can all react in lightning speed, right, through our communities. There's definitely some there's some negatives and there's some positives, right? There's a lot of positives, more positive than there are negatives. The negative part of it is just sheer volume and how much you can really do with 3D printing. It's still, I wouldn't say it's not new. I mean, we've been doing it for, about 20 years, but how much you can really do versus traditional manufacturing is different. That's why I really feel like if we look at the communities in the hospitals and really get them involved where they can start 3D print some of their own inventory would be absolutely incredible. I mean, you could do everything from, God, you could track it with a barcode to know inventory at a moment's glance. I mean, for anyone, I mean, there's so much that can be done moving forward. I mean, currently we're involved in face shields. We're right in the middle of designing a mask that we're hoping is going to be FDA approved that will have, and we hope we have the problem solved of actually the filter material. I mean, there's a million great mask ideas out there, but the biggest problem is the filter material at the end of the day. And we're doing splitters, we're doing a bunch of stuff. The technology we use, thankfully, is safe to use. It's at HP, it's a nylon PA12 material, and we're not, our company, my company, we're growing. We have a trajectory to grow a lot in the coming years for additive and really want to be the additive manufacturing hub of the East Coast. That's what we're in the middle of building currently before all this happened, which has just been crazy. But there's an unbelievable community out there. What's been great for me is we've been provided with a ton of opportunity to help with face shields, but we could only do so much. At max capacity for us for a face shield, let's say, we can do probably about 900 a week, which is pretty cool. But there's some challenges there as well. But the community has banded together. I mean, there's an unbelievable network of companies that have this technology that are willing and able and are pitched in to create a lot of product. But what's really happened though is kind of going back to my point at the beginning is even at this level, we've had to redesign stuff to be 3D printed. So we lost about a week of time designing, developing something that it's crazy. And what's crazy to me is how many different facial designs that are out there. And the one thing that a lot of people are missing is that the droplet can come in through the top and through the back and come in. And you see a lot of unbelievable ideas out there, but that one simple thing, that message needs to get out there. It's like, listen, you're going to do a face shield. You got to have it closed at the top. Simple. Right. But how do you get that message out? That's the challenge.
Yeah, it's tough, again, to balance the energy and the desire to help with the safety realities. One thing I did love about some of the feedback that doctors were providing was just, hey, we can use these as secondary devices or to protect, to cover, if you will, the primary device. And so that was a good way to encourage makers and others to keep going, to keep innovating. There is power there, but the safety cannot be undermined.
Yeah, that's been the challenge. Even on the masks themselves. I know early on when all this stuff really hit there was a ton of people come up with masks, and at first I'm like, oh, this is great. Then I really started thinking about it because obviously we wanted to get involved and start doing stuff, and I'm like, all right, well, what happens if we create a mask that's not safe for someone to use? I mean, I have a lot of family members that are nurses and are in this industry, and I'm like, I don't want to just print any sort of mask and just give it to someone. That's why I think the industry as a whole, we need to really look at it. There's a lot we can do, to make this, if this happens again, God forbid, we can react a little bit differently.
Yeah, certainly as leaders, we need to be the gatekeepers there of knowing, what we need to do and what protocols. So I'm glad you're there to help us.
Yeah, trying. It's been just a tad stressful,
right?
But it's been great. I feel like there's so much innovation that's coming out of this. I mean, it's been incredible to watch. I am like constantly on LinkedIn, constantly on the news, like just like taking it all in. It's been great in a dark time, right?
Right. So maybe we can. Because I know we have a lot of makers in the audience here and folks who maybe are looking for resources or advice from you as a large company who's predominantly additive and 3D printing. what resources are available for folks who want to explore it further?
I think to go to the major manufacturers is probably a good first step. There's a lot to be learned if you just go to the HP websites or the 3D Systems websites or the Stratasys. I mean, those are the three big ones. And those guys are doing an incredible job. I mean, any three of those would be great to go on their website and just kind of poke around and read about and see what they're doing. I think, and you got even, not to shortchange anybody, Carbon, there's so many additive companies. I don't know of one that's not into it, that are really making a difference, which is really, really amazing to see.
That's great. What
and I think I'm sorry, and I think the technologies too, I think are something that need to be learned. Like, I mean, every technology, it's not a one size fits all. Every technology kind of has its sweet spot and what it's really good at. I mean, the materials is key, right? So really looking at the materials and seeing what each machine actually has to offer, I think is huge. Well, I sounded really Boston right there talking.
Embrace it.
Yeah, right. And then, you know, and even, I don't know if you guys have seen some of the pop-up 3D printers that are happening in Italy and stuff like that. I know Stratasys, it's pretty amazing what they did. They did a little pop-up facility to create parts and pieces, which is just unreal. But I'd be willing to bet it's good for certain items. It's not going to be good for everything, right? That's the thing. It's really identifying and leveraging the technology for what it's best used for.
Exactly. I think, you know, traditionally, we haven't looked at additive manufacturing much for products for end users, but now, you know, here's a call to action for that. The still the best spot for additive manufacturing in my mind is iterative design, you know, just honing in the design. So you can quickly go through version after version and finalize. And then when you get to that perfect design, then you can move into more traditional, at least materials.
100%. And that's how we've used the technology all these years, but it's changing massively quickly. Like every month, it's so hard to keep up with even. I mean, that's our job though, is to keep up with it. And it's really turning into a tool that can actually really be used for end use things that are going to change. It's going to change the world. I mean, it's on its way to do that. And I think the first start is what we're seeing right now. I think, you know, in the medical world, it's a perfect place for it, because with additive manufacturing, you don't need to carry a huge inventory, right? You can kind of move with it. You can move seasonally with whatever diseases or viruses that are out there. You can up your quantity of PPE and move on and on. And the other thing is really leveraging the technology that's out there for the individual nurses and the healthcare workers. I mean, there's so much that can be done. I mean,
it's a great
a simple picture right now can get you digital data of a person's face. Why shouldn't every health worker have their own customized design PPE stuff that fits their face type? Everyone's different. You know, not every mask is going to fit the person the same. And in a simple photograph will give you that database to create a customized device. I mean, why couldn't you create a face mask or a mask or a shield that was customized to that individual healthcare worker that they're responsible of, that could be reused over and over again? They can go home at night, clean it, and come in the next day with a fresh thing ready to go. And there's just so much that can be done to truly leverage the technology that's out there.
Yeah, I think, you know, real-time, real fitting, you know, that technology exists, and this is a good time for it too. So, you know, one size doesn't fit all, especially on the face. So, you know, we do a lot of wearable products here at Loft, and there's no one size fits all for sure.
No, I mean, that's what we're struggling with right now, creating the mask is just coming up with a perfect fit and creating that distance in the face, that, you know, some sort of material that can take up that difference. It's a challenge.
Definitely. Yeah. So I know a lot of individuals are looking at these render farms and places where they can come together. If you were to offer a piece of advice for folks who are, you know, looking to at least maybe the face shields or things like that, what advice would you offer?
I would say reach out to the service bureaus. Don't be afraid to reach out to them, even on LinkedIn. I mean, in this time, I mean, there's no competitor out there right now. It doesn't matter. Let's all communicate and talk. I mean, we're more powerful together than we are individual. We need to just communicate. I mean, that's the key. And that's kind of the stance I've taken. I've just kind of like, whatever, anything I have to offer or any service or trick or tip or anything, whatever I can offer, you got to give it up. So, and it's the same way for everyone. But I just would say that you just need to go out to the major if you're talking about additive, you're talking about 3D printing, the best advice I can say is start at the top with the guys that are really, producing the high-end production grade machinery and work your way down from there, depending on what you're doing, right?
Sure. No, it's great advice. Super. Well, I think you've shared some great resources for us and enthusiasm for how, really it's additive manufacturing's time to shine here with the proper protocols. And we're glad to have you join us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. And this is an unbelievable community. I mean, thrilled to be part of it.
Excellent. Cool. Well, we have some time for some Q&A here with Jason. If anybody has any questions they want to throw out.
The chat box is very much alive tonight.
It is, yes.
I think this is probably our most robust chat, right?
Oh, good.
I got one question.
Go for it.
So it's very simple. So we've just been in a private room and we've been discussing about the face masks. We're looking about, manufacturing, in Rhode Island, looking that can use them. So my question is the following. I've seen there was a need in Massachusetts coming from Boston. I just shared it with Kunal. And are we really focusing on Rhode Island only, or are we also looking at Massachusetts where we can offer our help there?
Is this a question to me? I mean, we're looking across the board. I mean, we're getting calls from Hackensack, Meridian Healthcare, all over the place looking for help. Anyone that can help and anyone that can pitch in. But what I feel like the most help that myself and our company and our community, I think, is truly helping our community, our local communities. I feel like, and I could be completely wrong. This is just a thought, right? I really feel like a lot of, you hear about 3 million face masks getting shipped to whomever, right? I really feel like the local community hospitals like that are around me, the Sturdy Memorials of the world and companies in places like that are not getting that stuff. And I think that's where the maker community and companies like myself can truly help until the supply chain can catch up. It's kind of, I don't know if stopgap's the right word, but it's something where we can help out a little bit. I mean, the local, I mean, literally it's, I could throw a stone and hit it. Sturdy Memorial is right in industrial park where we're located. And I remember when this first started, they had no N95 masks to speak of. I mean, they were panicking. We ended up donating every N95 mask we had just to find out that, oh my God, now we don't have any N95 masks after. But it's just crazy. But I feel like, with 3D printing, I feel like the geographical location is key, because even like we were helping a lot with MIT, we were just making some quick swabs, kind of like to your point, Jeanette, where we weren't manufacturing anything. We were quickly iterating, like just quickly banging out some samples for them and getting to them so they could test, what they were trying to create. And some of our other partners that are on the West Coast were doing the same thing. And just because of what was going on in the world, they couldn't get their stuff from the West Coast to the East Coast fast enough. Well, we were able to 3D print and literally drive it to them. So in an emergency situation like this, it's so different. And really that's what 3D printing is all about. I mean, we always joke about that in the company where, we're an emergency room environment, but we're a product development company because we're always putting out fires. We're always putting out fires, and the only way we can actually put those fires out is leveraging 3D printing. If we didn't have 3D printing in-house, we wouldn't be able to do it.
Great.
So I think, if we can somehow get together as a local community to really take care of, the hospitals that are very close to us, I think is where the maker community and companies like myself and others can really make a difference.
Agree. It's a great, it's something that Annette spoke of earlier, which is the distribution to maybe some of these challenged communities who even beyond the hospitals, just your, you know, your first responders or your in-home care or all the folks across the board who need this equipment, and getting it to them quickly and bringing it to them even. So I completely agree that it starts probably locally, but you know, this is a global effort. So it's not like we're keeping it to ourselves, but we can make the biggest impact with our neighbors.
No, the reason why I kind of brought it up too was when Kunal was bringing up like, hey, we have masks, but we don't know to whom we can give.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about don't stop manufacturing, continue manufacturing, and send out maybe to others that you can help in the meantime, so later on get them back. But I agree what you're saying. First, you got to look about local Rhode Island. Hey, what can we serve here before it really starts ramping up?
Yeah, great point. Well, I guess with that, super information, Jason, thank you so much for your time, and all you guys are doing. I'm sure you're running 24/7, or the printers are at least.
All of us, I think.
So keep them humming, and thanks again.
No, thanks, Jeanette. Thanks, guys.